From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
It's another Sunday afternoon, and of course it's time once again for the O&M Sunday Show. I am Mamode Akuga.
I am Obiora Ilo, and you're welcome to the O&M Sunday Show. Well, Mamode, the elections are coming, and one individual seems to be making more news than the candidates. The almighty Olusegun Obasanjo continues to be in the news, continue to take the headlines,
Yes,
and we've talked about him in a couple of our programs.
Yes, but he just keeps popping up. I don't know how he does it, but somehow he manages to get himself right in the middle of the news. And in fact, he's still stealing headlines left, right, center, because probably a lot of people consider his statements very weighty. So when he speaks, people want to take him very seriously. But Obiora, personally, I'm at a loss. Why, everybody seems to be running down to Otta.
I was reading the papers this morning, and they said something that Otta has become a mecca of some sorts. And then something happened.
Yeah, but just, take a look at the people who are going to Otta. And when you look at them, you wonder why. Buhari is going. I mean, the story of Obasanjo and Buhari is known to all. Rotimi Amechi. You want to remember the K-leg saga. President Obasanjo practically almost made it impossible for Amechi to become governor. You see Bola Tinubu going to Otta.
You see Atiku?
You saw how for so long Obasanjo made it impossible for Lagos State under Tinubu to get the allocations, something that Yar'Adua made possible in under a week of resuming office. When you see people like that who have been hurt terribly by Obasanjo still go to the man, I mean, what's it about the man?
Well, I think it's the important figure that he is. Someone came to the program and said that you can't take a man that ruled the country twice, as a military ruler, as a civilian ruler. You can't just wish him away. But last week something happened. The papers reported that Obasanjo, who is a PDP member, used to be the leader of the PDP, is a BOT member, is now supporting the APC candidate in Ogun State, Governor Amosu.
Well, Obiora, if that is not anti-party activity, then tell me what anti-party activity is.
Because the chairman, the party in Ogun State, they're insisting that the national must sanction Obasanjo.
I mean, Obiora, without a doubt, for me, that is anti-party activity, and he does need to be sanctioned. The party needs to sanction him. I mean, you can't be in PDP and make such terrible criticisms about members of your party, endorse people in the other party, and then still remain a very influential member of the same...
well, he said he's not voting party, that he's voting the individual, that performance determined. But I was just wondering when Obasanjo was president and leader of the PDP, if anyone in the PDP could do that and get away with it.
I don't think so. And talking about when he was president, I mean, it's spreading a lot of criticism along the line of people in government today. You want to take a little bit of look at his own performance while he was in government. The things he talks about today, really, insurgency, the current president has been unable to handle insurgency. You remember that under his own leadership as president, you had the Niger Delta crisis, which he was not able to resolve, and Yar'Adua resolved it immediately getting into office by putting the amnesty program in place, setting up the Ministry of Niger Delta. You talk about corruption, there's several people who have accused him of corruption, his administration. We don't want to go into issues of, all companies and all that. But you talk about impunity.
He was also accused of impunity.
You remember in Gige Saga, his disciples,
the kidnappers.
Yes, and all that. You remember how 8 members of the Plateau State House of Assembly eventually impeached. Out of 24, 8 were able to impeach a governor.
The Fayose experience.
Yes, or you want to go, or the Ladoja. I mean, the impunity
was everywhere.
So when he criticizes now, I think that the very high up people there should also try to remind him of, who and what he was and how his own administration was.
I was reading the papers and someone said that Obasanjo should stand in the mirror and look at himself and said that if you're going to equity, you must go with clean hands. I think we'll leave it there. Sanusi was also in the news just this morning. Sanusi is saying that
Emir of Kano?
The Emir of Kano is saying that because the nation is weak, that is why we have this insurgency, uncontrolled insurgency by Boko Haram. And he was saying that he still insisted on what he said, that the people should fight, protect themselves.
Yes.
Because he said that these insurgents were misrepresenting Islam.
Yes.
And is calling on the citizens to rise up and defend themselves, since it looked like government could not ensure their safety. And I was watching some of the international stations just yesterday, and they keep talking about the weakness of the Nigerian state, the corruption, and what they said, the unreadiness of those in government to really address the issue of Boko Haram.
And our military as well. I
yes.
mean, the issue of corruption has been, openly stated, even from the United States government, accusing our own military of corruption, and that the corruption, in fact, is making it impossible for them to tackle headlong the issue of insurgency.
But one worry I have, Mamode, is the reason that the United States has given that why they are not collaborating with our military is because of human rights abuses. And you see the kind of abuses that we see from Boko Haram. You remember the story of Boko Haram after they killed the men and the women were in the bushes. They went into the bushes, fetched them, killed some of them. How do you, it's difficult for our military to really play according to the rules under these.
Yes, how does a conventional army tackle
an unconventional
army? And it's, that might be difficult for us to analyze. Right, but we have several guests who are with us already that we are going to be taking on the program today to look at several issues. Obiora, we have somebody to look at the role of media in elections.
Yes, we have Aki Oshuntukun, former managing director of the News Agency of Nigeria. He's also the publicity director, Southwest Zone of the Jonathan presidential campaign. He won't only be talking about the media in elections. He'll be telling us about the campaigns, about the Southwest, in the Southwest, to be precise, and what is going on there.
Also, we'll talk a little bit of politics and a little bit of development, regionally speaking, as we also will be talking to former managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, currently a 7th senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Emmanuel Agwariawado.
Well, I remember this senator for what he did after the Warri crisis years back. I think there was a foundation, he raised money, was able to assist the
IDPs.
The IDPs then. And IDP wasn't actually a big word then. But now IDP is a big word, internally displaced people. We'll be talking to him about the current internally displaced people, how best to address their worries.
All right, and also later on the sofa, we'll be talking to a musician, a Nigerian musician, based in Los Angeles, United States of America. He's already with us in the studio, has a beautiful video. I'll be showing you all that later. His name is Big Clef.
Don't go away, the show is just beginning.
Spice Supreme, the supreme spice in every dish.
decades have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television, first with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known, the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, with the O&M Late Show.
From 6th January 2015, Mamode and I will be bringing our decades of experience to bear on our new talk show, the O&M Late Show.
In our careers, we have blazed many trails and we are thrilled and ready to set new records with nighttime television. The O&M Late Show,
your late night catch-up.
Hello, you're still watching the O&M show. And right now, we will be taking on our first guest, who will be talking to us about the role of the media during elections, and also talking to us about election activities in the Southwest. He is Mr. Akin Oshintoku.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Glad to see you.
Well, Mr. Oshintoku, tell us a little about the campaigns in the Southwest. The president was in Lagos and 1 or 2 other cities in the Southwest. What was the reception like?
The president has actually covered 5 out of the 6 states. The only state outstanding is Ondo State. The flag off was held in Lagos on August 8th. That will be about, January 8th. That will be about over a week ago. Well, it was massive, it was tremendous. There was an enthusiastic outpouring of, support, solidarity, and cooperation. The campaign, that was the flag off of the campaign itself, for the whole country. And it took off with a bang, The president was quite glad to be given the opportunity to report to the Nigerian people what he has achieved in office. And he did it on a commendable note, start off. He could, of course, not speak of all his achievements within the duration of that period, of the rally. But at least he made a good show of addressing quite a number of the urgent ones.
Okay, yeah. But the Southwest, a lot of people consider it as a stronghold of the APC for good reason. They are in control of a few states there: Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Oyo, and PDP now has 2 states. So a lot of people will say that APC is quite strong in the Southwest. How are you contending with
No, you see, that is a myth. It is very superficial assessment. Listen, let me explain. What you should ask, what you should ask is what I mean. I should explain myself, and I was going to do that.
Okay.
Of course, that myth was exploded in Ekiti State. Before the PDP won in Ekiti State, if anybody had told anybody from what you read in the newspapers that the PDP can win, not only win Ekiti State, but in the most resounding manner, nobody will have believed it. Just as you are saying now, Ekiti was being trotted all over the place as a stronghold of the APC. So how strong is a stronghold in which you are battered? Let me give you, I will consider that maybe Lagos, they are marginally Superior, maybe Osun State because of the outcome of the election was a marginal. But in Oyo and Ogun State, APC is actually in the minority. In Ogun State, as we speak, all the three senators in Ogun State, 7 out of the 9 House of Rep members are not in APC. In Oyo State, we have a similar scenario. All the 3 senators are not in APC. So we have a minority government. Right from, it actually started as a minority government, but it got worse along the way. When I say minority government, in both states, if the splinter groups of PDP, in Ogun State, for instance, the PPN and PDP, didn't split into two. They will have beaten the APC. If you added the number of votes that those 2 splinter groups got, they have matched. Same thing in Oyo State. But when you see that somebody is the governor of, the assumption is what you have just said. But that is on paper. That is on paper.
Okay. The number 1 PDP citizen in the Southwest is telling the people of Ogun State, for instance, to vote an APC governor instead of voting a PDP governor. Is it not an indictment on the PDP that they have nothing to offer to the Southwest?
That should be a real headache.
It should be a real headache.
You have been deliberately provocative.
No.
But listen,
Don't misunderstand.
No. Well, I mean, you are doing your job. That's a quite problematic question for me to answer. Primarily because of my relationship with the personality in question.
Okay.
But having said that, every party has its own dose of crisis. I cannot deny that such a crisis exists. But what he said was that he will support candidates, not party. Remember, he's also an elder statesman. Apart from being a politician, he also doubles as a statesman. If he wants to put emphasis on the latter role, he's entitled to that. He has problems with the PDP. Nobody can deny that. So that was what he said. It wasn't as if he said he was going to go against PDP all the way. What did he say was that he will support candidates. In other words, if the PDP, if in his own reckoning, the PDP has a better candidate than the APC candidate, they will have supported
I'm
that
going
candidate.
to ask you an unfair question again. Is it that those of you in the PDP are afraid of Obasanjo? That a leader, a member of the BOT, is asking members of the public to vote for a candidate of another party, and you're here moralizing about his being a statesman, being all. Is it because of the kind of relationship some of you had with him in the past?
No, you see,
is the PDP afraid of Obasanjo?
You got it wrong. He's not a member of the BOT. He was actually the chairman. He was actually the chairman. I resigned his position as BOT chairman. It's not a question of being afraid. See, when I say an elder statesman, it's not theoretical. He has held the office of Nigeria for almost 12 years. Once as head of state, military head of state, secondly as civilian president. That kind of person deserves respect. It's not somebody you just look at, you confront or look at. He has earned it. You don't expect Nigerians to be trading banter. It shows there's an element of disrespect there, especially for we Africans. So it's not. There's no question of being afraid of. It's not a question of just being respectful, and you have to take his status into consideration whenever you are prompted to want to respond to what he says or does.
All right, let's take you out of that so that you can feel a little more comfortable with this interview. And bring you to a very familiar terrain, the media, which of course you have played some part in the past. This is an election year. First and foremost, let me ask you, assessing the way the media today is covering the elections. Are you satisfied?
Well, yes and no, but mostly no. I see a tilt, skew in favor of APC. Well, if you look at it from the point of view of the underdog, maybe the media, as you could not really blame, there is the tendency to want to support the psychological underdog in any human situation.
Yeah.
But I've observed it, but occasionally it seems to be taken too far, actually misreporting what happened. And I will give you 2 instances. The question of the school living certificate of the APC presidential candidate. It was reported that the army said that they have in their custody Buhari's certificate. The army never said that. What the army said, as a matter of fact, was an iteration of a general public service rules standard that look, the relationship between an employee and an employer is such that requires that your employer has a copy of your certificate and you also have it. That is the general rule.
Yeah.
They never said anything specific about Buhari, but it was reported by quite a few papers that Army says we have Buhari's certificate. The second one was concerns, my father figure, that's Obasanjo, when he was commenting on the PTF. If you read through his statement, Obasanjo did not say, I didn't find anything. That was a banner given by 1 or 2 people. That Obasanjo found nothing.
No.
Which was not
clears Buhari.
Exactly. But if you read what he said, in the conclusion, what he said, so that you get it factually, was that he found something, to use his words, fishy, right?
Yes.
And he then asked the former executive chairman of PTF that, look, between me and you, did you do anything wrong or did you get any personal benefit? And of course, nobody will say no. I did. So that was not. You see, that is how it goes. I don't think that's an. It wasn't proven. The former president didn't give himself the opportunity to prove. You see, an accused is deemed innocent or to prove otherwise. But the former president, chose not to prove it, but just to exonerate on the basis of his relationship and what he thinks, of General Buhari.
Okay, you gave an overview of what the president had been saying.
Sorry, need some water. Yeah, we will.
Saying in going around the country. Many Nigerians are worried about the message. They just say the same thing all over again. Can you tell us a capsule of what the PDP message is for the people of Nigeria?
Well,
besides the certificate of
the message
Buhari and all that. The
message is captured in the theme of the campaign. That's Nigeria first, Nigeria always. Okay. That means that we put whatever he does or says, in office and out of office, Nigeria comes first. Now, if you want to break down that into its detail, for instance, then you look at what he has achieved, what he has done for Nigeria, which he has enumerated, as the campaign progresses. And each stop, he will tell you, on so, this is what we have been able to achieve. In this aspect, this is what you have been able to achieve. Well, you see, in his own case, I think that, again, maybe it is the media's choice or whatever. Look, this 2014, the Transparency International gave Nigeria its highest rating in terms of corruption perception index. Nigeria was scored 130-something as well. It is not good enough, but it was the best Nigeria had ever achieved. For the first time since Nigeria started being graded from 2003, the TI said 38 countries are more corrupt than Nigeria. Now, Nigeria used to be number 1, 2, 3 most corrupt. Now it's 39. So now, but you see, Nigeria, we are used to sensation. If something is not sensational. Fighting corruption has different approaches, different aspects. There is a preventive and there is a punitive. To most Nigerians, you are not fighting corruption if they don't see punitive on a daily basis. Right? Somebody asked that, and of course, this was one of the things that gave Nigeria an improvement. There has been a tremendous, progress in the preventive measures. For instance, that the fertilizer syndicate, has completely been wiped out by bringing a device that establishes a direct relationship between the agric ministry and the farmers. They no longer go through middlemen. The president also said, although he was trying to explain to workers why the reason for the delay in the salaries of 2 months, actually it was a measure that was also devised to prevent corruption, to prevent leakages. There's a mechanism that in the process of getting money across to anyone, salary or whatever, if there is any deviation, right, in that process, like there is a leakage or whatever it is, the mechanism automatically shuts off, right? And of course, through that means, then there was this the aspect of the capital outflow. Up till 2012, the capital outflow from leakage from Nigeria was in the neighborhood of $14 billion annually. Between 2012 and now, it has been reduced to 7. So the capital flight. So now these are indices but they are not sensational.
Nigerians are looking for the sensational one.
Tafa Balogun is arrested, something like that. I was actually being asked somewhere that, can I mention somebody who had been arrested for, that is Nigeria's name.
All right.
All right, we must thank you, Akin Oshuntoku, Director of Publicity Southwest Zone, Jonathan Campaign Organization, and former Managing Director of News Agency of Nigeria. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Same here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
When we return, we'll have more guests standing by. Don't go away.
Good luck, Ebele Jonathan.
He assumed office with a vision and a dogged determination to make a difference. Despite daunting challenges which could have destabilized our renewed march to greatness, he has remained steadfast in his quest to deliver the dividends of democracy to all Nigerians. All around us, evidence abound that he is working and enriching the lives of millions of our countrymen and women. Because he is humble and filled with love for our country, he has refused to be distracted. He is the first president of Nigeria to give a documented account of his achievements, and these are yet to be disputed. If he has been able to do so much in just 4 years, let's imagine what he can do with 4 more. Think Nigeria. Vote good luck. This message is brought to you by the Wind of Hope.
Millions of people gather all over the world for an encounter from heaven.
Every sick will be healed right now.
Since this young man was born, one side has been blocked, but it popped open right in this service. He can breathe in both nostrils. He is completely healed, Pastor.
Jesus!
Come and experience God's power in another dimension. It's 5 Nights of Glory 2015, a place where impossibilities become possible. Date 19th to 23rd January 2015 at 4:30 p.m. daily. Venue Salvation Ministries, Plot 17 Biro Beach Street, GRA, Phase 1, Port Harcourt. You can also be a part of these services anywhere by attending our local viewing centers or online at 5nog.org. For other inquiries, call +234 700 447 7722. Come and experience God's power everywhere.
You're still watching the O&M Sunday Show. And it's time to have our second guest on the show. And we have joining us now, 7th Senator, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Emmanuel Agwariawado.
Good to have you.
Pleasure.
Welcome, Senator.
Thank you.
Sit, please. Senator, for a lot of people who always wonder, your name, very difficult for a lot of people to pronounce, Agwariawado. Maybe I can do that because I'm from Delta. But in effect, what does the name mean, Agwariawado?
It means we succeeded through consensus, through agreement, through meeting. That is, for us to make progress, agree. We have to talk to one another, we have to reach out to one another, and then we can make progress.
And has that principle, guided your life all this while?
Very, very, very apt. Very, very correct.
Yes, let me take you back to 2 years back, before you went to NDDC, before you went to the Senate. You had something like a foundation that had addressed some of the challenges that we had with the water crisis. As I said to Mamode when we started, IDF then was not a big word. Internally, the displaced IDP was not a big word, but today it is.
Yes.
We have these challenges in the northeast, and it's quite big.
Yes.
What would be your advice at this time? How can we cater for the needs of these IDPs?
Okay, you are talking about before I went to the House of Representatives.
Yes.
Spring 1999. That was when we had a crisis in Warri, in the Delta area, and brother turned on brother, and we stopped hearing each other, and then what should not have led to a problem and became a problem, and it led to neighbor versus neighbor wars, and we shouldn't have been, because we have always lived together. These people have always lived together as brothers and sisters. So whatever it is, if you use my name, well, we could all have sat down and talked about it and agreed. But because we didn't listen to each other enough, it went to problem. And so what I did was to donate food items then, because one of the most important things for people that are displaced is hunger. They are hungry, they don't have food, they don't have water, they require a lot of clothing, sleeping materials, and so on and so forth. So the milk of human kindness must be exhibited by those around there to show concern, to show love, which was what we did then. We donated food items to the victims of that crisis through the Delta State government. I think it was through Colonel Duns, who was the then administrator of Delta State. And then we went on to organize a peace and charity concert at the Tafawa Balewa Square, the cricket pitch. And my partner then was Dark Communications. So
to raise money for
for the victims of the crisis.
What are we not doing right now? Because you have these people complaining everywhere of not being well taken care of. With this crisis going on, what are we not doing right?
Well, I think what needs to be done is to continue to do what is being done and do it well and do it better. People must be seen to be eating. People must be seen to be sleeping well. They cannot sleep well as if they are in their homes. But the small basics of life, they must be seen to be having them. And for those who are in position to do those things, they have to really try, because if you think about it, what it means to be displaced from home, it's not funny. Everything you have is lost. Your home is gone. Your family home is gone. You don't have anything anymore except what you have on yourself. Maybe your clothes, and maybe your maybe a bag, a small nylon bag with maybe a rusty bread inside, something like that. So they really need to be cared for. So those who do these things, those who are in charge, have to really be serious about it, and show real concern. And then politicians from that area, industries from that area, if there are any, should show interest. Government from that area should show interest. The food items, very, very basic. Water, bedding materials, toilet facilities, if they can organize those, they are very, very important. And then, then one can begin to think about what we do after that for them. Is the government going to provide some housing for them when the crisis goes away and they're able to go back? So all these plans can be talked about now. And when the people begin to hear about all this, then they have hope that tomorrow, when this crisis is over, tomorrow will be better than what they are suffering now.
Okay. There was a time when you had this crisis in the Niger Delta. What looked like the insurgency we have in the Northeast now was at one point in time in the Niger Delta, where you had a lot of militants taking oil workers hostage, and quite a lot of conflict was going on there. That, to a large extent, prevented development from taking place in some of those areas. I recall several times contracts were awarded for road construction. Companies had to run away. Like, for instance, Julius Berger had to leave the East-West Road because of attacks from militants and all that. And you were very involved in, plotting the development of the Niger Delta region. Now that militancy is gone, so to speak. Are we seeing enough development in the region today?
Yes, I would say it is gradually taking shape. If you recall, what led to the crisis, apart from the Warri crisis, the Niger Delta had real issues of development. The basic things you need for the growth of any small economy were either not there or not enough, or they were completely absent. We had situations when we were in the NDDC of children learning under schools that are no schools, under mango trees, and no hospitals, no place for of course, the systems that guard all these things were very weak. So there was no concrete effort. There was no development that you could call development. But then when we went to the House in 1999, one of the first bills which President Obasanjo brought was the NDDC bill. Yes. That they needed to tackle the issues of development and growth of the Niger Delta region, to give the people of that region hope that they belong to Nigeria. Yes. That is not just enough to tap and use the oil resources in the region to service the country, but that the people of that region should have some measure of development. And that's what led to the setting up of the NDDC, yes. Which we passed into law back in the year 99. Okay. Towards the end of 99, as it were. So you could see now that with the advent of democracy in the past 16 years, as it were, the state governments had more money. The federal government intervened in many areas. So now there's a foundation which is being built upon. But what is absent, what is still absent, is that the capacity to employ a huge number of the people is still missing. Because I still believe that the agricultural sector still needs massive government intervention, because that is the area that can really, really employ a lot of people. There are very little industries in place today.
But are our youths willing to go to the farm? That's the big question that,
well, it's a question of the leadership. When I say leadership, it's at every level, both federal, state, and local. I'll give you an example. Today, if you go to Delta State, the federal government is showing an example. There is the cassava program, where about 5,000 hectares of cassava has been cultivated, and it's employing a lot of people. Now, if that is replicated in many places, it will continue to employ a lot of people, okay? So that's at the federal level. So the state governments or state governments across the region needs to do the same thing. The local governments need to encourage their people. But I'll give you an example of what we did in NEDC. 70% of the time, I was talking to the militants. The doors of my office were open. So, and we were open to them. These are the programs the government is going to do. These are the projects the government is going to do. So they saw, and they believed. So that was why you saw that between 2003 and 2006, while we were there, the militancy was at a very low.
Was reduced.
It was reduced. Now, so transparency in government is very important. Very, very important. Okay. And of course, good governance, that's it, yeah.
Let me take you to the present about something that is worrying a lot of Nigerians. You are in the National Assembly. And since the campaign started, even before it started, in the last 2-3 months, there's almost inactivity in the National Assembly. Is there no way we can work out a system where we have elections and we still have useful representatives doing their job?
No, representatives are doing their jobs, both in the House of Reps and in the Senate. Don't forget that there's a constitutional provision of the number of days we must sit in a year. And once that is met, then we have fulfilled our constitutional...
Nothing is done.
They usually don't meet it.
No, we meet it.
They usually don't meet it.
No, we meet it. If you come, you check the register, we meet it. There's no doubt about that. When you say nothing is done, now, in what areas, right? Why I'm asking that is because the critical bills are being passed, the most important fundamental bills, which are going to be useful, are being passed. Now, because in a calendar year, you will see like a list of almost 500 bills. It's not all of them can be passed, but there are the critical ones that are very, very important for the country. They are being passed.
Like the budget?
Like the budget, which is the #1 bill in this country.
Is it passed now?
Oh, it's now at the committee stage. It's past second reading. It's now with the committee. It's being worked upon. So by the time we resume next month, it will be passed. So National Assembly is working. We are carrying out our constitutional responsibility. Democracy is working. I know, I believe there are people who will say, oh, we should sit every day. But we also have outside work. We have our oversight functions. And we take our time, like during this period now, we are involved in
the elections.
We are involved in the elections and oversight. I'll give you an example. For instance, I have to go to PTI, which is in my area, next week. I've already booked that appointment. So we are working. It's just that you may not see it on TV. You may not see us in session.
Or maybe you need to do more.
Okay.
We'll continue to do more.
Let's get down to politics as is well, because that's right now you're very involved in that. Elections just approaching. You are a member of the PDP. One of the results that shocked a lot of people You are from Delta State. I'm talking about the primaries now.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it was open secret that the governor of Delta State was endorsing a candidate for governorship, but somehow that candidate lost. So a lot of people were quite surprised with that, because probably with the power of incumbency and all that, you could, easily get a governor installed. What's the situation with politics in Delta State as we speak, leading up to the elections?
Oh, leading up to the elections, a lot of things happened. Of course, primaries took place, and like you said, candidates have emerged. So we don't want to talk about the past, we rather talk about the present. The
past influences the present.
Well,
because a lot of people are talking about internal democracy in PDP.
Yeah, there is. That's why we had primaries. Most of the other parties.
And we had about 4 candidates declaring themselves winners in a couple of places.
I don't know about that, but I'll give you an example of the other party. Some of their primaries took place in private homes of people. That didn't happen in the PDP. Our PDP's primaries were conducted in open arenas where everybody saw what happened. But in some of these other parties, people just emerged. We don't know how they emerged.
Some PDP members had primaries in churches, had primaries.
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so at all.
In hotels?
No, nothing like that. PDP primaries were properly organized and they were all properly conducted.
At least, maybe at least in Delta.
Maybe in Delta, maybe in your state.
In my state.
In Anambra, we had 4 candidates emerging. In Enugu State, we had 10 candidates.
We are out of time. Okay, we're out of time. Senator Agbara, we want to thank you so much for finding time to be on the O&M Sunday Show today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wish you all the best future political endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We take a break and we watch the internet.
Side America, West Side Africa, West Side America, West Side Africa, West Side America, West Side Africa, West Side America. I pull up in my brand new ride. I'm rolling through my hood and daylight. Never catch me slipping, never slide. Pull up with my girl and daylight. I pull up in my brand new ride. Reservation. Big bank take a little bank, call that relocation. They know me in my city, I'm a star, boy. I'm trying to put my city on a map, boy. Stay rolling through with no security. Worry, boy.
All right. Just having some banters with my tag team partner, Obiora. Yes, that was just in respect of our next guest, who, of course, you've been seeing the video already. He is Big Clef, and is with us in the studios. Welcome to the O&M Show.
Big Fleck is all the way from the United States, where he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All righty. So we're just watching your video. Tell us about the song a little bit.
The song Idiagbon is the genre is called Afro Trap, which is crunk music and African melodies, which I kind of like stumbled into over there in the States. And besides that, the whole idea of the Idiagbon was based on a slang that actually, was popular in Warri at the time, where they had the Idiagbo regime, where they did Operation Sweep the Nation. So every little kid in my area was scared of the word. When you say Idiagbo, everybody gets scared. So, and Idiagbo
You're trying to scare people?
No, not really though. But Idiagbo too means somebody who's intelligent. Like, so if somebody in our school back then knows, there's a brainiac and call Idiagbo, like it was more like intelligent, smart, strict. And in Benin, disciplined. And in Benin there was a lotion like a Vaseline lotion. Back then they called it Diagbo. So basically, if you rub it on your skin, it makes your skin shine. So Diagbo means a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like Dorobushi in a rap form. Yeah.
You've had quite a journey. I mean, going to the States. I mean, going to school here, going to the States, and doing a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Tell us about what has been happening to you.
My journey actually was pretty cool. Like, when I was in the States, I worked with a lot of artists, here, in Nigeria and in America. I worked as a recording engineer, a Pro Tools recording engineer, and I go to school as a music recording technology major. So, it's pretty cool, performing, meeting different artists, international artists, people that I look up to, having to meet them in person. And getting advice from them, working with them in the studio, seeing how they record their music and mixing, whole sound dynamic stuff, which most of the upcoming artists in Nigeria don't get access to because, before you record a good song, you have to pay so much for studio time. But, over there is you get a good quality audio that you can play for anybody for very easy, easy price and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
So how is Idiagbo doing, the video? How is it doing right now? Is it getting airplay? Is it getting recognition?
As for recognition, I would say yes, it's getting recognition, it's getting a lot of airplay. It's been on TV for different TV stations for over. What
do you mean by recognition? In Nigeria, recognition means, you must be described like award-winning.
A lot of money. Winning awards.
I actually
going to shows.
I actually won an award recently as the most popular artist in diaspora from the South. So meaning the most popular South artist in the United States. Which is pretty cool, and I feel like it's just still kicking up. We're still working on it, on the shows and getting money part. But I feel like since Idiagbo is my first official video, so I wasn't expecting to blow all of a sudden. The whole idea of making music is not blowing up as soon as you come out, is making music and loving what you do. And with the way I make my music, I have a whole bunch of, I'm versatile. I'm a singer and a rapper and a studio engineer, so I'm here to be relevant.
You have it all locked up.
Yeah.
So what do you want to get to with your music?
I'm almost getting there. I feel like I want to make music that everybody around the world can relate to.
Yeah. And let me ask you.
Yeah.
You've played in the United States. You play in Nigeria. Yeah. Do you think we're doing well? Is Nigerian music doing well?
The Nigerian music is doing well because a lot of people are making money, so which is the main part of making music out here. A lot
quality
of people,
music.
Yeah, it's in terms of upcoming artists. I feel like they need more support, because I feel like the struggle first is just the sound. You know what I'm saying? People don't focus on the sound in Nigeria. They focus on I just make a quick hit song and just blow up, and you don't focus on this song that you've made. can you play for somebody outside this, you know, your area, you understand? Like, and some people have to go back and like mix and master songs. They have to go back and like work on their sound again, which is, you know, which people leave opportunities for, because in Nigeria, as soon as you make money, you get access to good studios. So either way, it's still, the Nigerian music industry is doing good.
So we're seeing in the album video. What next? So are we seeing anything from you soon?
Yeah, definitely. I have a whole, like, you know, a whole catalog of records, rap records, you know, party songs, which, you know, Nigeria accept the most, you know. Yeah, I'm working a whole lot, and I'm planning on going back to California to record some music videos, photo shoots, promo and performance tour and stuff like that.
I was actually going to ask, are you back home for good?
Yeah, I'm back home for good, but I'll be going back and forth because I'm a citizen in America too, so it's just like a back and forth thing for me, but I'll be mostly in Nigeria.
Okay. All right, so
I think we'll drop it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there and wish you all the very best in your musical career. Thank you so much for coming on to the O&M Sunday Show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, we're going to be leaving you with the video from Big Clef, Idiagbon, that's the title, he calls it. But don't forget that on Tuesday, we'll be back here, God willing,
at 11 p.m.
11 p.m. I am Mamode Akuga.
From Abuja, Nigeria, I am Obiora Ilo. Let's keep this date on Tuesday.
Chat. It's Big Clef. You heard? West Side Africa, West Side America, West Side Africa, West Side America, West Side Africa, West Side America, West Side Africa, West Side America. I pull up in my brand new ride. I'm rolling through my hood and they like, never catch me slipping, never slide. Pull up with my girl and they like, pull up in my brand new ride. I'm rolling through my hood and they like, when I come through they recognize. I'll be rapping for my Congo till I die. I pull up in a